Welcome to the Crypto Compliance Podcast from Cense. I'm sitting at the table with Hugo. Tell me something about yourself, Hugo.
My name is Hugo Leijtens. I am the co-founder of Cense, and I'm the crypto and AI expert of Task Force RIEC, which is the Regional Information and Expertise Center for Organized Crime.
Why do you do this?
A couple of years ago, I was part of a financial institution where I encountered money laundering and financial crimes. Basically, these financial crimes were performed from the inside out. And based on that experience, I got requested to join an innovation smart cell within the Regional Information and Expertise Center called RIEC, which is the Center Against Organized Crime. And within that organization, there was a guy that has opened up my eyes towards organized crime in order to see it within society. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it anymore. And that's one of the things that drove me to really pick up this subject and to ensure that we create a society that is also a nice society for our children to live in.
The impact of organized crime on our society is the main topic of this episode. What different types of organized crime are you talking about?
Well, there are a bunch of different types of organized crime. So the ones that we have around us most is probably drugs networks and drugs production. I mean, the Netherlands is one of the countries where most drugs is being produced. But that's not just it. We have criminal motor gangs that apply a lot of violence and explosions. We see that are all around us, which basically also is a drugs-related violence. But that goes all the way up to environmental crimes. Right? Those drugs production, they generate a lot of waste, and that waste is being dumped into the nature, and that needs to be handled, which has also a huge impact and cost for society. And these are all interconnected. One of the larger frauds and crimes that we now see is healthcare fraud, where about 10% of our healthcare budget is being defrauded, and that rakes up to an amount of about 10 billion euros per year. And when you take a look at those money flows, we see those money flows going from health care fraud and moving into drug production and into international drug networks. So all of these criminalities are interwoven with each other, and that brings a lot of undermining activities and impact on society.
So those are the main impacts on the society we feel.
Well, when I take a look at the impact, for example, for my children, so in the Netherlands, we see that about 1 of 10 children at school parks are being groomed to join organized crime and criminal networks, and that amount is growing. So it moved in the last few years from 1 in 10 to 1 in 7, and that means that in the classroom of my daughter, they have like 25 people in there, and it's expected that in a few years that 3 at least are going to be approached to join an organized crime criminal network.
Those are staggering numbers. But what are we doing now to prevent that?
Well, fortunately, we are doing a lot of things, right? So we have a lot of cooperation within the investigation world. We also have the public-private partnerships that extend basically from resilience into repression. We are organized as a government in order to fight these crimes, and we're increasing the resilience of society and everybody around us to see and detect and act on signals of organized crime.
Yeah, because what would happen if we didn't do anything about it?
Then the world is really going to feel that impact, right? So we live in a country where the law is actually the one that governs our country. But what if that is not the case anymore, and the criminals are now governing that area where you live? And so you don't have to listen to the law anymore. You have to listen to this criminal dictator that lives in your street, for example. And this is not the world that we want to live in, because that on itself already has a super amount of negative impact, of course.
And how does crypto play into this?
Well, we see crypto now as a new money flow, basically underlying on all organized crime. right? So we see it in drugs production. We see a huge amount of funds, cryptocurrency funds going to South America. We see it go to Asia for the purchasing of precursors for synthetic drugs. And so for example, in frauds, there's now 50% of all frauds have a cryptocurrency component in there. But we also see it a lot more, right? So basically, it's interwoven into every single activity as a secondary money flow. And that doesn't mean that all organized crime and criminals are now full-blown into cryptocurrencies. Don't get me wrong, dollars and euros are still the go-to currency. But the growth of criminal activity within that cryptocurrency space and the adoption basically of cryptocurrency in all different kinds of organized crime activities is also staggering.
And how does Cense play a part in this?
Well, with Cense, what I've tried to do with designing the product of Cense is to connect basically the data information position between the private world and the public world. With the right information positioning for financial institutions, they can at the gate, front gate, they can stop basically filter out those activities that are not wanted within the financial system. And then, of course, the data information then gets pushed into the police and into investigation services so they can act faster and catch the criminals faster. At the end of the day, I would say that organized crime, the one thing that they are all fighting for is money. So by creating barriers to stop those funds, flow of funds, and to stop organized crime getting their hands on these money flows, also make sure that these criminal activities are going to go down.
Yeah. So in our next episode, you're going to explain to us, how do you do that?
Yeah, so in the next episode, we're going to take a look on how does that look like when you have to deal with organized crime and cryptocurrencies, and how can you help basically to stop this by increasing the resilience against this. And from a cryptocurrency perspective, what we believe is that, there's a huge criminal impact, of course, that has a negative impact on society, but there are even more people that are just normal people. And so with Cense, what we try to do is we try to facilitate people that do with cryptocurrencies while weaving out the criminal side of those cryptocurrencies so that we can all just use them and move into a modern society.
All right. Then we go on to the next episode. Thank you.